So I got this notice in the mail from the city of Long Beach saying that on January 9th, 2017, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., that I would be getting an apartment inspection from the Department of Development Services. I have this post-it note covering up my address because I can't trust you people. But yeah, apparently this is something that they have decided they're going to start doing. It was voted on June 23rd, 2015 that they would start doing this, so that's great. I also got a notice on my door saying that the apartment manager and a representative from the management company would be accompanying them as well. So if you saw last week's video when I said that one of the things I want to accomplish in 2017 is get my apartment organized, yeah, that's kind of makes me have to really do that soon. By Monday, actually. So, let's get this video done, huh? Hey guys, Sean here. You may notice that I have a slightly different setup this week as compared to other weeks. I'm sitting in my chair and I'm in front of my computer. The reason for that is because I want to talk to you about end screens. In order to talk about end screen, first we have to talk about annotations. You see, on YouTube when you upload a video, you have the option to put annotations on it. Annotations are the little squares that will pop up on the screen that you can click on and then go to a different website or a different video or whatever the creator has decided to make that link to. I personally use annotations for whenever I, point at the screen and something pops up and I say, hey, click here to do this, or if, I hold up my hand and you can click on the different fingers. I did that in one video. I think I had one video where I held up Buddy and you could click on his stomach. It's basically the little square that you can click on it and it'll take you to another video or a website that it's been approved by YouTube, or just wherever it might take you. When you look at the end slide on all of my videos, there's actually 3 annotations on that page. There is the previous video, which it is showing, and you can click on that to go to that video. There is the subscribe, you can click on that to subscribe, and there is the Patreon logo. If you click on that, you can go to my Patreon page. However, recently, YouTube introduced end screen, which is actually a much easier way to do all those things. Because before, with the annotations, you would actually have to select the area on the screen where the button would be, and then you would have to type in where you want it to take you and all that stuff. But now, with end screen, they've made that really simple. However, that being said, it looks different than the way that I have the annotations set up, so I need to make a new end slide. And so it is for that reason that we are going to do my second ever how-to. Roll the greatest graphic ever made. Punk. When I first made that graphic, I thought it was terrible, but now I think it's the greatest thing I've ever done. I should add an explosion to it. So in order to make a new end slide for using end screen, we're first going to have to take a look at the end slide that I have for annotations. And for that, we're going to go into Photoshop. First thing you'll notice is that this is really super wide, and the reason for that is because this is on a super wide screen, so that's why I have it set up this way. As you will see here at the top, it says previous video. We can actually click on and off all of these different elements here. So there's previous video. Below that is the gray rectangle. That is a placeholder for when I put the previous video over the top of it, so that way all of the videos are uniform. And we can click that on and off as well. In the background, of course, we have the gradient. It just makes it look nicer. Below previous video, you will see the various icons for all of the social media platforms that I have the username, which is below all of them, at ShabeRaven. We can actually click all these on and off. There's Patreon, there's Snapchat, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Tumblr, and Twitter. Next to that, you will see the subscribe. That is what I always highlight and make an annotation about, so that you can click on that in order to subscribe. And then last, at the bottom, there is my website, ShabeRaven.com. You can also go to SeanBlue.com. They go to the same website. So that is the end slide that I use for annotations, but now we want to make one to use with end screen. So in order to do that, we will first have to go to YouTube and get an idea of what that's actually going to look like. There's actually a couple of rules in order to put end screen on a video. First off, it has to be at least 25 seconds long, and second, it can't have any annotations on it. So unfortunately for me, I only have one video that fits that criteria, and that is 000. So as you see here on the end screen page, there is the name of the video that you're currently looking at. There is the ability to preview the end screen once you've actually made it. And then here there's various things that you can turn on and off, like snapping to an element or snapping to the grid. And then here there are some various templates that you can select. But since we're going to make our own, we're going to just place the elements in the way that we want to do it. And then lastly, if you already have a video that has end card on it, you can just import directly from that video and it will put them in the same location. So that's going to be really helpful once we actually make the end screen template. So as you'll see over here, there is Add Element. If you click on that, it will show you the various things that you can put. There is a video or playlist, there is a subscribe button, there is a channel to, if you want to promote another channel, you could put a link to that, and there is link for an approved website. Patreon would be an approved website. So let's go ahead and click on video or playlist. As you see, it brings up this pop-up that will give you the option of the videos that you can select. First off is most recent upload. So for the entirety of the life of this video that we are currently uploading, you can put a box so that every single time you upload a new video, it will automatically update this little square, so that whenever you're watching any video, it will show you the most recent video that you have uploaded. So actually, that's kind of a good idea, so let's go ahead and click on that and put that in here. So as you see, it puts this little box that we can move around, and we can put this wherever we want. Now most people, they have been putting it over here. Like their most recent video, they will put it over here. We can also resize it, and it uniform resizes it, so that's good. And let's move, and there's a blue line there that shows you where the center of the screen is as well, so that's really helpful. So let's go ahead and that looks good. We'll leave that there. Next up, we want to put the previous video as well. So let's click on this again, go to video, and then choose video or playlist, and then it'll give you a list of all of your videos. And you can click on any one of them, and it'll put a link to that video. So the last video was 027, so let's click on that and create element. And now we have another one for the previous video. However, we want it to be the same size as this one as well, so let's put it over the top of this one and then size it up so it's the same size. And then we will move it over here. And now we have the previous video and whatever the most recent video is. So the next thing we'll want to put is a subscribe button. So let's go ahead, go back to this, click on Add Element, and click on Subscribe. As you will see, it will instantly create this little subscribe icon, which basically just uses the avatar that you've already set up in YouTube. So as you can see, I'm kind of running into a little problem here because there's really nowhere I can put this square, and it's already a predetermined size. This one you can't change the size of. So what we're going to do, we're going to put that down at the bottom here and then move these two up to the corners. And that should be pretty good. That looks pretty good. And now what this is going to do is it's going to leave room for all the various other things as well. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and move this over to the corner over here, because that kind of matches the old way of doing it as well, where subscribe was in the lower right. Alright, let's take one more look at the add elements. Is there anything else we want to add to this? Ah, yes, the link to an approved website. So let's go ahead and click on that, and then type in, oh, I already have it auto-loaded there, patreon.com/SaveRaven, and then click Next. And what it's going to do is ask to select a call to action, which would be learn more, visit, sign up, or support. So let's do support. And then you can change the image. So let's select change image and go to the desktop, and I do not have any images that will work for this. Huh. So I'm going to have to go ahead and make an image apparently. So I'm going to go ahead and make a quick image. So apparently the only requirement for this image is it has to be 300 by 300 pixels, and the Patreon logo that I had on the old end slide was not that big, so I just had to take that and enlarge it a little bit. So let's go ahead and change image and select all files, and here, Patreon 2. So let's put that there, create element. And now we have this neat little Patreon button that will take you to my Patreon page. So as you can see, we have most recent upload, we have previous video, we have subscribe button, and link to my Patreon page. So now we need to make the new end screen end slide template. In order to do that, we need to know where all these elements are going to be on the screen. So let's hit print screen. So now that we have the print screen on the clipboard, we'll go ahead, go back to Photoshop, and select New, and Clipboard. So this will basically make a document that is big enough to hold all of the desktop. So go ahead and click Create, and as you can see, it is really super wide, and the reason for that is if I hit Ctrl V, I have 4 monitors. Shocking, isn't it? So here you can see there is the Photoshop, and then this monitor here has my Patreon currently up, this one has my website currently up, and here is what we want. So what we're going to do is get the select tool and just kind of quickly do a little select here and go to image and crop. And then we will get the hourglass and fit on screen. Now we need to go and make it a little more finely detailed to just what it is that we want here. So we'll go ahead, select the video, and crop it again, and then hit copy, go over to the end screen, and hit paste. Wow. So as you can see, this end screen that I made before is actually really huge. We have this little element here, which is what we copied from YouTube, so we'll bring it over here and put it up in the corner, and then select Edit, Free Transform, which gives us the ability to change the size of it, and then start dragging it, hold down Shift so that it stays the same properties, and ooh, it's actually a little bit smaller than the old end slate. So that's fine though. We can deal with that later. So put this in the center, and there you have it. So the next thing we're going to do is move this to the top so that it is the top layer. So go ahead, move it up one more. There you go. Now it's the top layer. And the last thing we want to do is change the opacity of it. So that is right here. Bring up the slider and bring it down. So now we can see the two elements on top of each other. So actually I think I want to do this the other way around. So let's go ahead and bring the opacity back up on this and then move it all the way to the bottom. And then we will select all of these things, holding Control and clicking on all of them, and then bring the opacity down on them. Okay, that is much better. Alright, so now we'll go ahead, click on shabraven.com, see where that is. That's down here. That should be fine. We can leave that down in the corner. We might move it a little bit closer to the edge though. Next we'll move all of the various icons. Of course, Patreon now we can get rid of. So let's go ahead and delete that layer. And let's move Snapchat over here. Whoa. Snapchat over here. Facebook over here, Instagram over here, Tumblr over here, and Twitter over here. And then for subscribe, let's actually change the size of subscribe. So we will select subscribe, select free transform, and bring it down, move it here. That seems good. And then select Add Shape Raven. Free transform it. Bring it down in size. We want it to kind of be the same size as the subscribe though, so let's bring them together so we can see. Yeah, it's about the same. So we will bring that back over here. And then let's go ahead and move all these icons. Oh, still on that. And let's go ahead and move all these icons over here. Closer to this edge. Closer to this edge. Make sure they have the same distance in between them, 0.277. So one of the really neat things about Photoshop these days is that it will show you the distance between all of them, and it locks it all into a grid really nicely. So now we have the giant Patreon logo you can click on and it'll take you to the Patreon page, and then we have the various other social medias and of course the username for all of those various social medias. So the next thing we'll want to do is go ahead and grab this rectangle here and move it over here to line up with the previous video. And we will change the size of it since the previous video is now smaller. So let's go ahead, select that, and bring it down in size to match that. Go ahead and hit enter, and then we're going to duplicate that layer. So select duplicate layer, rectangle copy, and then we'll just move that over here, and that should match this square as well, which it does. Next, we want to grab the previous video text and move that over above this video, and there it is in the center. Now we will go ahead, select this and duplicate it, and move this new one over here, center it, although it doesn't matter because we're about to change what it says. Select the typing tool, select previous, and change it to latest video. Oh. Click outside of it, grab this thing, and center that. So bring it up online with the previous video. So that's good. And now last thing we want to do is go ahead and make another layer. Layer, new layer, sure. And we're going to make a new square. Well, actually, we'll just... Oh no, yeah, we want to make a new square. Well, actually a new circle. So let's go ahead, select circle, and then we will make a circle that is the size of this. There you go. And bring the opacity down on this, just so it's not so crazy dark. And then bring that up to line up. So now we have a placeholder for the subscribe button, and then we want to do the same thing for the Patreon button. So for that we can just select another one of these rectangles and go ahead and duplicate the layer. Okay. And bring it over here. Throw free transform on it and size it up to Patreon button. And now we have the template for the Patreon button. So if we go ahead and select all of these different elements, oh yeah, we can just select the top one and then the last one and select, or use shift to click them, and it'll click all of them. And then bring up the opacity on all of it. You can see we have the template. We're going to go ahead and on the various squares that are the placeholders, we'll bring the opacity down on them again. So yeah, that looks good. So yeah, there you go. Previous video will go here, latest video will go here, subscribe button will go here, and Patreon logo, which will go to the Patreon page, will go here. That's good. Down the line I might tweak it a little more, do something different, but for now, I like this. So let's go ahead and save as, so that we don't replace the annotations end screen. And end slide, select JPEG, and name this end card 001. Maximum, all that. And there you have it. So there's one last little thing I want to try here. So let's go ahead and select all of the elements here except for the background layer, and you know what, let's turn off that while we're at it. And then go ahead and merge visible so that they're all one element, and then we're going to duplicate layer, select OK, and then we will offset everything just a little bit, and actually let's go ahead, select the magic wand, select all of the area that doesn't have anything, and then select similar, and then select inverse, grab the paintbrush, make it really huge, paint everything in black, go ahead, deselect, move this behind everything, and then drop down the opacity, and bring this back in. So now everything has a nice little drop shadow on it, so it looks like it's, yeah, it just makes it look more interesting. Gives it a little more depth. And so we'll go ahead and save this as well. Do JPEG. Go ahead and click on endcard 001, and we'll save this as 002. I don't know if I'm actually going to use this one or if I will just stick with the other one. We'll see once I actually put the actual end card elements on top of it and see if I like having the drop shadow on there or not. I really like it on the icons here, so I don't know if I really like it on all the other stuff, so we might just go back to having no drop shadow, or maybe just on the various elements, or you know, I'll play around with it. You'll see what I end up using at the end of this video, so look forward to that, huh? So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, and I'm going to play around with this just a little bit more to get it to more of my liking, and you'll see what I ended up doing with it at the end of this video, because I will use the final version of it at the end of this video as my new end screen. All that noise you hear is actually Buddy attacking a box that's behind this sheet, so I should probably go find out what he's doing, but let's end this first. So one of the benefits of using end screen as opposed to annotations is end screen works on mobile devices. That was the big selling point of end screen. Annotations don't work on mobile devices, but end screen will, so that's why a lot of people are switching over to it, and that's why I'm switching over to it. Also, it's just a lot easier to use, so I'm gonna go ahead and start using it. Why not? Makes things easier. So yeah, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the new subscribe button at the end of this video. If you'd like to see my previous video, go ahead and click on that. If you're watching this, say, 6 months in the future and you want to see the latest video that I posted, go ahead and click on the latest video, and feel free to click on the Patreon link to go to my Patreon and become a patron. They have yet to put a like element in there, but you can only have 4 elements anyway, so I don't really need it. But go ahead, if you like this video, to click on the like button wherever it may be on whatever various device you may be on. And so with that, have a good however long it is until you watch my next video. Fancy new end screen!